Hello, welcome to my channel. My name's Cole, aka Trans Spirit, a transgender human being with an emphasis on spirituality. On the last video, I talked about being transgender, and it was more so from a spiritual standpoint. And what I mean by that is I'm someone who, especially the past 3, almost 4 years, I've dedicated my life every day. Soul work, shadow work, psychic work, stuff like that, more esoteric, metaphysical. That's what I'm into. That's what I feel called to in life. So I was talking more in the last video about how transitioning isn't something I felt called to do, but I was just thinking about why it seems like such an amazing thing to do. Not only is it going to help people get through any kind of gender dysphoria that they're experiencing or anything they're going through mentally or from the outside world that's affecting them in a negative way. It's going to help them get through those things, those obstacles. But it would also just, from what I imagine, it would help you to live a more just normal life. What I mean by normal is, and this is my perspective, okay? But growing up transgender and not realizing that's what it was, but just growing up feeling like I should have been born a boy, although I was born in a female body, and I still identify with being male. With that said, what it seems to me is that if I were to transition, that could give me the opportunity to not talk about being transgender. It dawned on me earlier today because I guess my MO, my thing is to talk about it. And it's like it's a compulsion, really. I've always been a writer. I've always even created little books when I was a kid and constructed my own books out of paper and pen and illustrations. I've always been a songwriter. So I've always been a writer, and I talk a lot. And sometimes I don't talk at all. I'm also an extremist. But anyway, I felt the need to talk about being transgender. Honestly, I feel like in this age of communication, in the age of Aquarius, this is the time to talk about it. We are blessed with so many opportunities as far as technology goes to talk about it. So here I am and I'm talking about it, but I thought about how when you transition, that gives you an opportunity, say in my case, to just be the man I've always felt that I am. And as simple as that sounds, and a lot of you you could be thinking, well, yeah, that's why I'm on testosterone. I want to live a normal life. I don't want to talk about this every single day. I don't have to explain myself. I don't want people to be rude to me. I don't want to deal with odd situations and awkwardness in public, like bathrooms or whatever, or changing rooms in gyms or pools or wherever you're at, Girl Scout camp. Ugh, it's just, anyway, you get to that. That's what I imagine. Now, I don't know, because I have never been on hormones. And if you haven't watched my previous videos, I am all for hormones. Woohoo! I'm all for people being able to do their transition. And I know what the hell is like with the dysphoria. But I'm also here to say that if you're somebody who feels like you don't want to transition and you know why, okay, well, hats off to you for knowing what you want and feel in this life. You could be somebody who feels that they shouldn't transition and you're not sure why. I was that person for many years. I had some reasons. I thought, oh, well, I'm a singer. And even the doctor said, well, who's to say that you can't sing in a male voice? And I was just like, no. And who's to say? I could have transitioned and had a nice, been blessed with a nice male voice. I'll never know unless I did it. But at the time, that was one of my reasons why I didn't. But in all reality, I didn't really know why until years later, until the past probably about 3 to 5 years. And a lot of that is more of the spiritual practices that I started feeling called to years ago, but didn't really start practicing things on a daily basis, practicing mindful meditation. I make that face like practicing. What are you talking about practicing? Practicing mindful meditation, practicing healthy eating habits, exercising, even if lightly. So really the point of this video was I started thinking about, wow, when people transition, that's just it. They are that guy. Now imagine I transitioned. I'm just Cole Adams. I'm Cole Adams, the guy that always existed. Like who I feel like on the inside just now matches the outside of me. Wow, that was a trip all in itself. I thought, how exciting. I've never really thought about it because I've always felt like I wasn't going to have an actual sex change. Like for whatever reason, I was going to stay in this body, but I wasn't going to stop being me. I wasn't going to be like, okay, I surrender. I'm a female. No, I'm still a male in a female body, and it happens. And that's the awareness that we're trying to give the world, and let other people know that feel this way or have family that feels this way, that this is okay. This is life. This is normal. This happens to people. It's been happening to people since the beginning of people. Two-spirited beings in indigenous tribes in the United States, at least, all over the world, different tribes and cultures that respected people that feel like multiple genders, or they feel like the opposite gender of, because gender is fluid. Gender isn't actually represented by your parts. Those are your biological parts. But that's different than your gender. That's different than how you identify. And although some people argue that, I also feel like they're not looking at it from another perspective, and they definitely haven't experienced it. Because if they experienced it, they would know that gender is fluid. We got to give gender more respect. We have to recognize the cultures that came before us, the people that came before us, and our people now. We have to respect the fact that people are being brave to live their truths and live who they are and not hide it. Because hiding who you are is one of the most toxic things you can do to yourself. So asking other people to hide who they are because it makes you feel uncomfortable, in my humble opinion, that's unacceptable. And it's unacceptable to not be yourself, no matter how weird, no matter how weird and wonderful you are. Be weird and wonderful. Be a good kind of weird. Yeah, I've just been thinking about how beautiful it is that reassignment surgery does exist. Because every day I'm faced with the challenge of possibly being misgendered, which it's all perspective. I've gotten to the point, really, I wouldn't even call it a challenge. It's more of, it's just a choice. I'm a gender non-conforming person. So I'm not going to conform like I have in the past and dressed female because I'm still in a biological female body with no testosterone replacement. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to keep wearing male clothes, but I have my reasons to where I don't feel it physically good with my health personally to be ingesting testosterone. Plus, y'all, I do tattoos, but which is the funny part, but I really hate needles. So I'm just saying, man, y'all are strong because, yeah, I'm one of those people that fear needles. With that being said, I'm not taking any hormone replacement, but I'm still dressing like the male I feel. And that can bring challenges, but I've gotten to the point where I don't care. When you begin to realize the potential that we all have, the power we all have with our own thoughts, actions, with our minds, with our pineal glands, with our third eyes, we all have this. With the power that we have, we can create any kind of life we'd like. You have dreams, make them happen. And the ride along the way that's the fun part. The unknown, which is actually can be terrifying, but it's also the fun part. Since I don't really fall into any of these boxes, I just live my life. The boxes are a good reference, but don't feel like you have to fit into any box. I didn't even think about that until years later, so I'm sharing that. If you haven't thought of that yet, maybe please consider that, because to me it feels good for my mental health. Please don't try to fit into any boxes for anyone else. And don't torture yourself with it either, please. if people are saying to you, oh, you're not transgender because this, or that, or you have to make this decision, or bisexual, you have to be, you don't have to do anything that you don't want to do. And that's the power we have with our lives and creating our realities and manifesting abundance into our lives and creating situations where maybe they aren't as homophobic as we thought. With that being said, I've experienced some homophobic type situations more so when I'm focused on what if I deal with homophobic people. When I start focusing on the possibilities of things going wrong in public with that or transphobia, that's usually when they happen. As I'm focusing on something, I'm almost creating it, I'm attracting it to myself. One of my biggest pieces of advice for not experiencing that, if you have anything to do with it, it's like, just try not to think about it. It sounds so cliche. So like, oh, whatever, okay, I won't think about it. It happens. No, it does happen. It happens. But I'm telling you, that's the law of attraction. That's basic physics, quantum physics right there. That's at least you could do for yourself. I would get into more of the spiritual side with prayer and shielding and grounding techniques and protective light and stuff, but basic quantum physics, what you're thinking about is going to come back. So if I focus on the possibility of people making weird remarks at me or laughing at me or asking me weird questions like, are you a man or a woman? Yes, it's happened. Just people approaching me about it. I usually attract more of that. Oh, these days I just do my best to not think about it. If I start to feel paranoid about leaving the house and I'm like, man, I can't deal with that today. It's like, well, don't even think about it. Don't create that scenario. Don't be naive to the fact it could still happen even if you don't think about it. It can catch you off guard. But be wise enough to know that what you think about most, what you focus on, you create in your life existence. So that's what that meant. You create in your life existence. So please be mindful of what you're thinking of. If you're that person that's worrying about, you're dealing with any kind of homophobia, you're in that category of humans, do your best to not think about it. That would be my very first bit of advice or suggestion for that. That's what I do in my own life because I've seen it work in a positive way for me. The less I focus on that. And they do catch me off guard. It happened to me in a grocery store once where people were just laughing and looking at me and just, it was like, what the hell? Stuff will catch you off guard. I believe those are lessons for us to separate ourselves from our ego and just be strong, rise above, understand that if people are laughing or making fun of you, grown people, that's on them. That's their karma. That's unfortunate. That's unfortunate that people would laugh at another person for being different than them. I mean, what is this? I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit the like button below. Subscribe. Everybody have a great day, night, wherever you are, and we'll see you next time.